Hey, Wolfpack. Getting some hot tea in the house. How's it going? Welcome to Behind the Scenes. I'm Angela Wolf. And what are we working on today? Well, we're building on what we worked on last week. Last week, we worked on pockets for a sweater knit. I'd really like to finish that sweater. So I tried on the tank. I pinned it. I'll show you how to take that in a little bit if you need to. And then we're going to keep working on our cardigan. We might finish it by fall of 2024 at this rate. Oh, gosh. Hey, great to see you all. I see you all rolling in. Yeah, for some reason, right when I went online, my computer decided to do a full update. So what do? Hang out and make tea. All right, so we've got squirrels in the house today. Thank you again, Jenny. Super cute. And then if I really make a squirrel moment, we've got this. I don't have the squirrel cam up yet because I haven't seen any squirrels out there. They should be out there, though, because it's crazy nice out. All right, so how are you all? Am I missing anything? Anything going on? Well, I will keep checking your comments, but in the meantime, let's go sew. So what I got on the table today, you can see in the background, that's the tank. Looks like a blob, right? Oh, I see somebody asking about the top behind me. Yes. So for those of you that like to take online classes, I'm doing this on pattern review next month. I think it's the 2nd. Where this was a sweater that was in my stash for a long time. I absolutely never wore it. I think 3 years. But the fabric is super soft. I like the cut of it. See how it comes up on one side and down on the other? So I hacked it and put in a front zipper and put a faux suede facing. Very rich. Very, what did we say yesterday in Fashion Sewing Club? Resort wear. Yeah. And then I did the same thing for the sleeves. I did not take the sleeves apart, so I'll show you how to sew this without having to take your sleeves apart. So you can refashion a garment that you already have in your stash, maybe something that you sewed, a sweater that you bought. Every once in a while around Thanksgiving, I get some pretty good deals on these, and if I like the fabric, I buy it. But half of them sit in my closet. Reason being is I can't stand the necklines to be that high, like ever. ever. So it should be fun. But if you hop on over to Pattern Review, you can sign up for it. It'll be a live Zoom class. I think I've got my calendar right here. April 2nd. April 2nd. So if you're a member of Pattern Review, you actually get a discount to it as well. Yeah. If you can't make the live, I'm pretty sure the replay stays up for a month, but don't quote me on it. Maybe you all know. I know, I'm with you, Connie. Totally. So one more thing before we start sewing. I saw that there's a few Wolfpack members that are in the SMP Nation quilt contest. So be sure to hop over there and vote for our buddies. Yeah. So I know Kimberly has a beautiful quilt in there. Who else did I see? There was 2 I saw. So if you're in there, leave a note here so I can bring notice to your name. You can vote once a day. That's it. Although yesterday didn't work. And happy birthday. Happy birthday, Jody. Are you in here? Hey, Ricky. I just saw your email too. And yes, I have your pattern for you. So I'll be sending that to you. Let's see. What stabilizer do you use to embroider on a sweater? Well, I didn't embroider on the sweater, but if I do embroider on the sweater, it will probably be a sticky back tearaway, not wash away, because it's too loose. I need something to keep that stability. So if I embroider on this sweater knit, I'm going to embroider buttonholes for the pockets. That's about it. I haven't really thought of doing any other embroidery on it. Although I do have the embroidery bug, but just not on that. Marcia, what fabric are you embroidering on? Is it a sweater knit or just any sweater? And you also need that water topper. Yeah. Amy, when does the voting end? I don't know. I'm not sure. Speaking of Amy, I want to make sure, and we were trying to coordinate it for sooner, but it might be in a couple weeks. I'm going to bring Amy and Amanda and Karen up. If you watched Fabric to Fashion for the first challenge, you can still go back and watch it on demand on Made It Myself TV. and I'll keep you posted when challenge 2 will be out. But I want to bring them up so you can ask them questions and we can get a little behind the scoops of what really happened in the show. So stay tuned for that coming up. There's 130 quilts, Linda? Holy moly. Well, we definitely need our wolf pack to shine then. It ends on 314. Oh, Jody, that's your birthday, April 2nd. Oh, I remember that. Helen, you could use Polypro for sweaters. Yeah. All right, let's go sew. I've got this up here. I'll just take you through. I'm going to keep rolling on this whole sweater thing. That's the tank that needs to come in. I'll show you how I mark it. And I'll take a few of these things off the screen here and let's go. Okay, so first up, oh my goodness, I have so many sewing projects going on right now. Fashion Sewing Club, we had a lot of fun yesterday. And Fashion Sewing Club members, you can go back and watch the replay, but we're actually refashioning a sweater. Well, we're not refashioning, I'm making it from scratch. And we were voting on which zipper, white, which is very resort wear, or navy. And I have to say, I looked on Wall Walk and the Italian zippers that are white and navy with the silver, I ordered both. So when they get here, hopefully by next week, before our next meeting, I will pick it then. But I love this sweater fabric. So Marcia, if you're embroidering on a sweater knit, consider putting fusible interfacing on the back. That will stabilize it a little bit as well, so then your embroidery doesn't stretch out. Okay, let's get started with the tank. I haven't made up my mind on the pockets. I have them right here. If you missed this last week, I showed you how to do this nice curve here. Bring you a little closer. There you go. Don't get shaky. And on here, I was debating on sewing it this way and then flipping it over. Maybe I've been playing with this all morning. It's ridiculous. But I could make it into kind of a little triangle or a curve. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. So the pockets are going to have to wait. I know, that's ridiculous. But that's just how I roll. Okay, so here's the tank. Remember, we basted this together. I tried it on, not live. And you can see I have a few pins. I could tell it was like huge on me, even an inch, over an inch. So I put a few pins here as a guide. Here's another one. So how I mark these on the inside, go to the inside of your sweater, find your pin from the other side. Mine actually popped through. And put a pin on the inside. So it looks like my other pins dropped out, but I can tell you that it was it fit pretty good in the upper, under my arm area. And in the bust, needed a little coming in. And then in the waist and hips, needed a lot of coming in. I'm not sure who I cut this for, but I definitely got a little carried away. All right, so there's that side. Now let's mark the other one. Again, you can see one pin mark here. So just place your pin on the inside, then reach in and take the pin that you used for fitting out. There you go. And this was basted, so if it looks a little wrinkly, that's why. Because the basting can sometimes scrunch up when you're working on a sweater. All right, so again, it's way over an inch in. So actually it's 2 inches. 2 inches. That's really bad, isn't it? 2 inches in the waist on this side. So that'd be 2 inches in the waist on the other, 4 inches. So this thing was 4 inches too big. Well, I guess it's better than being too small, huh? All right. There's the other side. So I will baste this again. The shoulders fit fine, so I can go ahead and run this through the serger. So we have that piece. All right. And I have all the other pieces over here. So let's take a quick look. There's the machine. I'm going to use a sewing machine to do the basting. Before I head over there, any questions? Oh, hey, Annette. Great to see you. So great to see everyone. Yeah, Jody, it was in Fashion Sewing Club yesterday. Yeah, they've got a lot of great stuff. I thought so too, Linda. I like the white. Oh, Susie, your birthday's April 2nd too? We got a whole bunch of April 2nds. Susan, how do you know what knockdown stitches are needed when embroidering on a knitted fabric? That's a good question. It really depends how much pile you have, or I can never say that, like the fluffiness, like a towel. So have you seen me do a towel, Susan, where you do a monogram? I might do a whole oval and knock down that whole thing and then embroider over it. So if you have a design that kind of is not real dense, but let's just say it kind of flowers out, then you would want to do knockdown stitches around that entire area so it stands out. But if you're using, say, like a Capella knit, one of my Capella knits, or one of those knits like the Army Green that I have, that's pretty flat. It doesn't have a huge fluffiness. So you really won't need to do knockdown stitches for that. Celeste is March 3rd. Oh, wow. We got a lot of birthdays in April. Whew. All right. So back to the machine, but here we go. There's the inside of my tank. I'll bring this up by myself. And you can see I have my pins ready to take in. I still want to baste it because that was a lot to take in. And if for some reason I marked it wrong, I sure wouldn't want it to be too tight after that, but it actually still looks pretty big. So I guess we'll see. And no, when I took it in on the sides, I did not compare the front to the back. So hopefully we're good there. I kind of just guessed. All right, to the machine. I even have the embroidery machine all ready. You guys see that over there? All ready for embroidering buttonholes. I just can't make up my mind what I want the darn pockets to look like. I know you're probably thinking, just do it. I think there's a slogan about that too. All right, so I'm using a straight stitch 5.0 stitch length. I'm just basting this. And also, if you're taking in something for yourself, I'm just going to give you a little example here. Maybe your pins aren't quite straight. So maybe you have a pin here, a pin here. The most important part is that when you sew this, you have your line is continuous. You don't want a sharp turn. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so I'm going to back stitch at the beginning. And I know it comes way in here. I'm not back stitching because I'm just using this as a guide to try it on. All right, and let's do this side. Hey, who went to Puyallup last week? I have not seen any photos except for one. I saw that Mary and Tara showed up at the Kaiser booth at 5 o'clock on Friday. I mentioned that you guys, whoever's there from the Wolfpack, to stop by there. And either you weren't there or you forgot, because those two got a fabulous present from Jeff and Devin. but I did get an email from quite a few of you that you weren't going. So I'm just curious who went and how was it? All right, so that right there is a little sharp on the hip area. I better tone that down just a little bit. You probably can't see it because I'm using green thread, but trust me. What did I just tell you? Make sure that it has a nice curve and not a unless your body has that which probably does not. All right, so now just close your eyes for a second. I'm going to move you over to the serger. There you go. Don't get seasick. If I don't trip over the camera, it'd be a miracle. All right. Using the airflow, I know the shoulders are already ready to serge, so. Shoulders fit fine. All right. All right, what are you guys thinking? Oh, Ricky, did you have a good time? You said it was smaller. Was it smaller than last year even? Sandy went. It was fun. Awesome. Did you take any classes? Oh, hey, Lisa, you see my mat on my embroidery machine. Do I have more? Yeah, I have. You can get those from Blaine Austin, sewingmachinesplus.com, the Angela Wolf ones. Unless he's out of them, he had every size. But if he's out of them, let me know. This is the tank. The cardigan is right here. Speaking of. So here's the cardigan part. It's really long because I just cut a super long piece for the cardigan. That's nothing. This is the same pile that we started with yesterday, right? Here it is. Oh my gosh. Okay, the squirrel stuck to my fabric, but when you're lifting it up and you see something brown in your sweater, it's like, oh no. Oh, the gift that keeps giving. Oh my goodness. Hey, Trudy, we miss you. Glad to see you're here. Oh, Sandy, your first time. Nice. Oh, Phyllis, you didn't go this year either? I didn't go because we were on a cruise. So you could just use the cruise as an excuse too. I can't even imagine getting back from that cruise and having to ship stuff out right away for that show. So, yeah. Oh, Angie, I like that emoji. Jody, what pattern? We did this in Fashion Sewing Club. Remember we traced our own cardigan? Yeah, the one I did yesterday in Fashion Sewing Club is the Bella. I started with the Bella. So anybody who's wondering what the heck is that, we'd love to have you join the Fashion Sewing Club with us. We do different pattern hacks all the time. So this we actually traced. And I did start sewing it in Fashion Sewing Club, but it was mostly about the designing. So Jody, I'll bet you Susan or somebody here will remember what episode. Yeah. Okay, back to sewing. I've got my cardigan here. Might as well just get both of these finished and then we'll go to the iron. Okay, so here's the shoulders. Oh, I already serged these. What? Okay, I guess we need the sleeves. All right, I'll meet you at the ironing board then. Did we do that last time? That's pretty bad. All right, to the ironing board. Ask your questions. I will make sure I take a break. I see somebody saying, do you still have any more of this sweater knit? I do. Just go on your phone, go to the Angela Wolf Patterns app. And I have, I don't know, maybe 3 colors left. I have green, black, although I don't know if I have black on the website yet. I might have saved it for a special day. Okay, so let's see, what do we have here? Here's the tank. Grab my sleeve board. I will say I had a really nice sleeve board that I just used to death. I need to get a smaller, I think I got this at Wall Walk, but this piece here is too tall. I want it to be shorter. I like it to be a little closer together, but it'll work for now. All right. I just want to give this a little pressing, just so I can, when I try the fit, there's a lot of fabric in here. All right, and the other side. I really want the tank to be a little more fitted, just because it's such a bulky sweater. Now I have one that I made with you guys. I don't know if that was in Fashion Sewing Club or just here. That was the same fabric that I made with a V-neck, and what else did I have on it? Let's see. Oh, it had slits in the side. That turned out really cute. All right, so I still have to sew the neckline. And then for the cardigan, we need to get our sleeves in order. So there's the arm's eye. I just had my scissors. Oh, they fell underneath the fabric. Here you go. Just going to trim some of that excess off. That is nothing. Is that a sleeve? No, that's nothing. Here's a sleeve. And how I can tell, let's see, is that, oh, that's the back. And that's the back. So wrong sleeve. Scraps, scraps. See, I cannot figure out how my sewing room gets so messy. This is the back. I have 2 notches. That's how I mark those. And that's the front. And there's the shoulder notch. All right, I just walked away with my pins. I do use pins for this. You could use fabric clips too. I'm just so used to using pins, and these pins don't damage my knits. So okay, I like to mark the shoulder first, and then I flip this around. So I leave my sleeve flat because it has a curve to it. Obviously, your sleeve cap. And then I move my fabric for my sweater around it. That makes sense. And then if I leave my sleeve sticking out just a little hair, then I know when I go to serge that, I'm not missing, nothing's skewing or twisting or any of that crazy stuff. I definitely have to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance though, because I kind of made those snips pretty big. Bigger than I probably should have, but that's right. Make it work. Now, when it comes to the sleeve, especially the arm's eye, I will usually sew it first. It's just a habit I've had forever. Even if you just want to baste it first, I just hate ripping out serging stitches if I make a mistake. All right, so there's that whole arm's eye. Now let's go to the other one. All right. There's the front. Oh yeah, see how much I chopped there? Yeah. I definitely need to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Might even have to do more. I think I might have gotten just a wee bit carried away when I cut these out. Well, actually, I think I cut these during Fashion Sewing Club, so when I'm trying to teach, I probably did that just to make it very obvious that I was making my notches, but I made them obvious all right. Might have to end up with a really narrow sleeve cap. So again, this pattern I showed in Fashion Sewing Club how to take your favorite cardigan. I have a couple cardigans that I just love. I don't like the fabric. They're too short for me, but I love the style. So I just showed how to copy it. So this is not from a pattern. All right, both armholes are ready to go. While I'm here, I just want to take a look at my side seam. So on the side seams, we have slits here. And I know that when I sew the side seam, I'm going to stop about right there. See where that triangle is here? I will stop about right there, and then I'll press these in. Sometimes I press them in first just so I know everything that's happening to make sure it looks good, but I'm not going to in this case. All right, let's hit the sewing machine, and then we'll hit the serger. Oh, hey, Mary. You said the expo's smaller too. Oh, but I heard you got a treasure, you and Tara. It was nice of you to show up at Kai Scissors booth. All right. Close your eyes for a second. I don't want you to get seasick. My studio is pretty clean right now, so I guess it doesn't matter where I show you. I know. Well, it was clean until I started throwing scraps everywhere. Okay, so now I'm going to run a serger through this anyway, so I could baste it if I want. I'm just going to use a 3.0 stitch length because this will make sure that, number one, I'm capturing my entire sleeve past those crazy notches that I put in. So I'm using a really healthy seam allowance, like healthier than I probably should be. But, you know, this was a bigger fitting cardigan anyways. If it was a narrow fitting sleeve, that could be a problem. Why? Because then all of a sudden you go to put your sleeve on and it might be a little bit snug in the sleeve cap area. All right, let's take a look. Did we get all of the... Yep, we got it all. There's no holes. All right, we'll do the same thing for the other side. And I am sewing with the garment side on top and the sleeve on the bottom. For me, I just find it easier. I find it easier to maneuver the top of my garment, I should say the garment body, to meet the edges of the sleeve. When I worked in the garment industry side, I mean, I always worked for myself and taught myself how to sew, but I did go to a few manufacturing places and sewing studio design houses, I would say, and I've seen it done both ways. So all right, so, well, you know what, probably taking this in a little bit will be fine anyways, because when we tested the fit on the tank, it was awfully big, so I know the cardigan's going to be awfully big. For the tank, I used the ruche T pattern. Obviously, a size that was maybe 2 sizes too big, but that's okay. All right, that looks good. Okay, now, all right, we're moving back to the serger. And yes, you can get these Angela Wolf mats from Blaine, Sewing Machines Plus. He has other colors too, but I would prefer pink for the Angela Wolf, proud member of the Wolf Pack. Okay. So I'm literally going to serge right on top of that stitch line. I'm going to make this a little bit wider. I'm going to 6.5 here, just to give myself a little wider stitch. I know I already started it, but that's fine. It's my cardigan. Why am I doing that? Well, when I move this width over, it moves my knife to the right, which gives me a little wider seam allowance on this big old chunky sweater. So there's my seam allowance. Looks nice. And where I started, see how that's a little bit narrower? So it won't matter for this. I mean, it's inside my seam allowance anyways. But I like to keep that a little bit bigger. All right, let's go to this side. This serger is so quiet. Full disclosure, I am a Brother brand ambassador. You all know that. If you don't, welcome to the party. And this is the new Airflow 3000. All right, looks nice. I'm going to give this a little pressing. Just steam press it a little bit to bring that sweater knit back in. All right. There's the ironing board, and then we'll go ahead and press our sides to get those ready. So our cardigan, besides just having to sew in my pockets, which I can't make up my mind what I want, oops. I always press my sleeve towards the body of the garment. Using that little steam. See how anything that kind of looked like it was stretched out, it really wasn't stretched out. Sweaters can really be a chunky mess. So there's one sleeve. Let's do the other. All right, that looks good. Now let's go ahead and do our side seams. Looks like I have an extra piece of fabric here. Kind of like hanging on for dessert. There's my markings for my pocket, whatever I decide to do on my pocket. I'm going to pin both of these seams at the underarm seam to make sure that those match up. You never know when I'm cutting away. I might have cut one longer than the other. It's more important to lay these flat, make sure they match, and then adjust any cutting issues later. Don't try to squeeze it to fit each other or you end up with little ripples, a lot of ripples. So it looks like my back is longer than my front on this side. And I can't remember, it's been so long since we did this cardigan. Did I do that on purpose? Because a lot of times I will do the back longer than the front. Just curious. And because I'm having this underarm seam towards the garment, I will start stitching from the sleeve edge down. It'll just keep that. And yes, I'm putting my pins in sideways, and that way I can see them at the serger. I never go over these. I don't sew through my pins either. At least I try not to. Okay, so here's the other side. Nope, it looks like this side is the same. So I'll have to go check my cutting length on the other side. But all I know is I'm going to stitch right down to where it's even with that triangle. Stop there, because then these will be your slits that open up. All right, looks good. All right, so I'm still going to go and do this on the sewing machine first. And the reason being is for those slits. So I'm just going to move the camera without you first, and then I'll bring you over there so you don't get seasick. Any questions so far? Oh, Cindy, you like it longer in the back than the front? Yeah, I do too. A lot of my tops, and yes, I'm wearing part of my sweater that we're sewing. Kind of has a good look, doesn't it? Although it's making my hair very frizzy because it's got a lot of static in here. Oh, Susan, is this the fabric? 91 poly, 5% rayon, 4% spandex? Oh, there's a pin in here. Yeah, that was not intended. I know. Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah, Kathy, the internet was not working very well yesterday. It was terrible. All right. I definitely longer in the back. All right, let's go sew. Oh, hey, Joanne, how are you? Yeah, this has rayon's my favorite because it's so soft. Some of my sweater knits have a little bit of poly, just because it does, but I prefer rayon with the little spandex. All right, so again, I'm going to start with sleeve edge with a pretty healthy seam allowance. I'm using a 3.0 stitch length. Now, this sweater is not super stretchy, and I am using a serger that's going to run right over this stitched edge. You have to be careful when you're sewing knits, because if you're sewing it and you don't use a serger, if you stretch like this, you're going to pull your stitches out. So by doing the serger right over that, I should be fine. All right, get all this fabric out of here. All these pins literally fell out. That's how loose this fabric is. All right, now for the body of my garment, for the cardigan, it's literally just going straight down. It doesn't have a curve. If you're going to have slits, you do not want your curve to go in, or you'll end up with little elephant ears. And if you don't know what that is, that means you've never done that. Good for you. Yeah, they're like little bat wings. Going right even with that triangle there, and then back stitch. All right, that looks pretty good. I'll do the other side with whatever pins are left. Holy moly. I definitely, oh, yikes. And I'm sewing on the Brother Luminaire, which is super quiet. Oh, you know what's funny is these are even. It must have just been a weird angle on the ironing board. The front and the back are even. So I want to stitch right to that parallel section where that triangle is. Why? Because that's where going to be our slit. All right. Close your eyes. And it would help if my cord didn't get in the way. If I hit it too hard, it'll turn into Blinky, right? All right, so I feel another pin. Just want to be really careful that there are no pins in here when you go through the serger, because that will cause chaos. So my left needle is just touching where that stitch line is I just did. Now we're getting to that triangle. So let's see, which one is the back? This is the front. So this seam is going to go towards the back. I'm just going to give myself a little slit. Following that triangle up, right to the seam, but not through it. And now, go over around that. And I'm going to be using the cover stitch on this, but I'll go ahead and just serge it to have a finished edge. And now I might as well just serge down the other side. There, so now we have serging going down both sides. I'll give it some pressing so it doesn't look all wonky. And then I need to press open my little slits. And you don't need to stabilize these. Once you press it, you'll see here in just a minute. All right, let's do the other side. I know. Is this serger the quietest serger ever? I should try my other one. You He would die if you saw the difference in noises. Okay, so this is the back here. So that means the seam's going to be pressed that way. So now let's go to the front and do the same thing we just did. I'm just going to trim up all the way to the seam, but not through it. I'm going to push this bottom one out of the way for now. And now we'll go back to the front one and make sure that we serge that whole piece. Trim off this extra. All right, let's head to the pressing station. I should just say, let's go visit Laura, right? For the Laura Star. You're right, that mat does make it quieter. I see some questions. What are you asking? What kind of thread am I using? I'm not using stretchy serger thread for this. You mean the woolly nylon or the woolly poly behind me, I should say? Woolly nylon? No, I'm just using regular serger thread. It's the only color that matched. So it just is. Just checking, I see. Oh, hey, Melody. This extra piece is a beautiful scarf, or it's the neckline for my cardigan, whichever way you want to flip it. Oh, Mary Lou, is that, it looks good. You know, it's funny, we were editing challenge 2 and challenge 3 for fabric to fashion, and I have learned that I say that all the time. It looks good, or make it work. One or the other, make it work. Oh, you're welcome, Jackie. So keep asking your questions, guys, and I will, let's keep sewing, though. We have 6 more minutes till the show is up. I'd love to finish this, but I can't finish it because I can't make up my mind on the darn pockets. So, Mary Lou, now your new word for the week is going to be holy moly, since I've said it about 8 times today. Seems to be the holy moly day. Okay, so this is the side seam. And here is my bottom little slit here. And you can see when you use the serger on these slinky knits, they can get a little wonky, but I will steam it and it will go right back in place. It's like magic. It does look like it's off just a smidge for the length. So I'll have to double check that when I try it on just to make sure. Otherwise, I'll trim this just 1/4 of an inch to match. All right, so press the seam to the back. Again, I'm using an iron shoe, which looks like this. Ooh, she needs some cleaning. And when I use an iron shoe, it will not hurt your knits then. If you're not using an iron shoe, you would definitely need to use a press cloth. All right, look at how nice this slit looks now. It all steamed right back into place. So a lot of times the next thing I'll do is just mark up my hem so I know where it is. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'll probably do about 1 inch for this one. At least I'll press it that way, and then I'll check to see what it looks like. And yes, using the clapper. I did just get a whole nother batch of clappers in. So if you're looking, go to the website. I've got the big ones and the little ones. And if you want, I'll sign them for you either on the top or on the side. Then I'll always be sewing with you. How's that? All right. You're probably like, why aren't you marking this? Well, I've been doing this for decades, literally. So I kind of can do this in my sleep. One inch. All right, now this part, because we're using a ribbed sweater knit, I don't know if I mentioned it in the last part, but you can see the ribbing. You need to make sure that this seam goes straight down there, straight down that ribbed edge. So if you cut it wrong, or you're looking at it and you're like, wait a minute, my grain line's going this way, line it up so it hangs perfectly straight. Otherwise, when you wear it, it won't be perfectly straight. And then for this part, I have a couple choices. I can either run this through the cover stitch from the right side, or I can tuck these under and do a nice mitered corner. I've got a lot of fabric there. I almost think a mitered corner would look really nice. I guess I have to think about that. It's going to be on the inside anyways. You're really not going to notice. And then if I do that, I would want to make sure that these are exactly even. See how this one's a little bit wider? I'll have to go back and measure those, or at least tuck them in so they're even. Let me see what it looks like if I just tuck those under. What do you all think? Tuck them under or do a mitered corner? All these decisions. All right, well, that's that part. For the sleeve, let's go ahead and mark this up. I usually have my sleeve, I usually have it marked where it's about an inch as well. So I'll go ahead and press this up, and then when I try it on, I can tell if that's correct or not. That looks like a good inch. And what about the other side? There we go. Do you notice I spend like most of my sewing time at the iron? Pressing makes your stuff look so much more professional. All right, well, while I'm trying to decide what the heck to do with our slits, you guys can vote. Mitered corner or folded over? Mitered corner, folded over. I was trying to think if there was something cool, because I'll have my pocket right here. If there's something cool I could do down that. I don't know. All right, so the last step for this one, sorry about hitting the mic. So let's go ahead and pin this. Excuse me. I've been having this piece of fabric around my neck that probably has a little dust on it because it's been a while since I've used it. So what I will end up doing for this is turning this backwards, sewing, and then flipping it right side out like this. But for now, I just want to pin it here just to see what it looks like. A lot of times I might baste it in first or just add a few pins. Now this time I'm going to put the pins this way, so when I try it on or try it on my dress form, I can see exactly what it's going to look like. Now, Fashion Sewing Club members, when we made this cardigan, do you remember I said kind of have fun with your bindings? So the grain line's going this way on the sweater and this way on the neckline, just because I thought it would look kind of cool. I probably should have done the pockets that way. Well, I do have extra fabric I just threw on the floor. Oh, maybe what I could do is, I know the main pockets are going down. Maybe I put the top band going this. Oh, I think I'm going to have to play with that a little bit. I could have sworn I sewed some pockets that were diagonal, but I'd probably have to go back and watch my own video to find out if I did. And then I wish I would have had a video to figure out where the heck I put them. Or I didn't know they were pockets and I threw them away. Because my studio is spotless right now and there's nothing out. So it's either in the trash or it's in a UFO bin from last year. I don't know. Yeah, if you're if you're in the Fashion Sewing Club, you don't have to join the live shows. You can they're all recorded in the Fashion Sewing Club. All of them. Hundreds of them. Hundreds and hundreds. But you can search by topic too. All right, we're getting there. Why am I pinning this first? Well, first I want to make sure it looks okay and it's wide enough, which I think it is. 2, you need to make sure that you're not stretching this at all. The only place I might stretch it is a little bit at the neckline. But if you do it going down the length of your front of your top, guess what happens? You'll end up with a lot of puckers by the time you're finished. So this at least I can tell. Let's take her to the dress form. Oh, a lot of you say mitered. I guess it's a little bit of both. Mitered, 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 folded over. Tuck. Susie, I didn't have my glasses on. I was like, oh. Glasses are good. Tuck. They're tucked. Oh, Susan says tuck. I wasn't expecting to see that in print, I guess. Yeah, don't ask. Don't ask. It's late in the day. All right, so let's see what this looks like on the dress form. All right? Yeah. Oh, what would you all do if I didn't make you laugh? Okay, so I don't have a belt on. Making sure my jeans aren't falling down before I go over here. This is the class for pattern review. Let's strip her. One down. Okay. I think this is going to look really good. I need to play a little bit with these pockets, though. I feel like the pockets are going to be a huge, cool thing on this cardigan. And I don't just want plain old boring. Plain old boring. No, plain old boring. All right. Oh, this is rich. This is my color. I'm liking this a lot. What do we got over here? Sweater knit's kind of sticking. So in the back here, I could stretch this just a little bit more to the center back to kind of hold that in a little bit. But you know what? I think it's looking really good. So there's the front. Here's the slits. See, can you see them down here? Just barely. There's definitely some static cling going on in the studio today. But I do think I need to stretch a little. See this little gapping right here? I have to stretch this a little bit more to fit that neckline. I don't know. I think it looks pretty darn good. Now I'm going to have to decide what the heck I'm going to do for the pockets. But do I get an A+? The love? Hit the like button if you like it. All right. What do you think? Yay? I think it's going to be really cute. Very pretty. Thanks, guys. Hey, Jackie, glad you made it. I love this color. I love this color. Hey, Jan. Squirrel's on the shoulder here. Squirrel's been busy, by the way. Thank you again. A+. Oh, good, good. I see a lot of A+. All right, so if you are on YouTube, do me a favor and click subscribe, and then you won't ever miss an episode because I'm terrible about sending out newsletters. Just ask. Yeah, I don't hardly ever do it. I always give you the news here on the live shows. And if you go to angelawolf.com, there's a calendar where you can find all the live shows, and I'm just ready to put all of March's in there from this point forward. So you don't want to miss those. But if you subscribe, you'll get an alert when we go live. And if you're on Facebook, they totally changed their algorithm again. If you missed that whole thing, I told the Fashion Sewing Club yesterday. So you have to actually go in to Facebook and go to Angela Wolf. It's Angela Wolf Couture if you're looking for, if you don't know what page you're on. And you have to click the 3 little dots to say follow. And then there's another button. So you have to follow, and specifically ask to follow or else you'll never see the news. Yeah, especially for the group. Is this the color called Pine? Oh, let me look real quick. Oh, let me look on the app, Deborah. Hold on. My blink camera is going off, and the mouse room is going off. You think I'm kidding? I do have a room called the mouse room. It's at the cottage, and it's in the basement. Not the basement, like not a physical basement. It's a underneath, outside. Oh gosh, those poor little guys. I don't know where the heck they come from, but they multiply like there's no tomorrow. And we did have a squirrel under there. We did not think that was very funny because they chew through my internet lines. Okay, here you go. Let me find out which one it is. So the app looks like that. Do you see it on there? The one on the right, not the Angel Studios. Angel Studios, that's where you can find The Chosen, or at least you could find The Chosen in the past. Looks like that when you load it. And it is, by the way, if you downloaded the app, do me a favor. Will you pop over and leave a review? Only a good one, though. If you have a bad review, just message me and tell me what it is. I can handle it. Let's see. Recently added. There's a bunch of patterns. Where is that? Oh, low stock. It is. This is the pine ribbed. It looks like this. Actually, you're looking at my computer screen. It's 91% poly, 5% rayon, and 4% spandex. And see this button on here where it says, see that little arrow? If you click that, you'll be able to see it from one of the last live videos. That's why when we do the fabric stash sales, I save them because you can always go back and see how they drape and get a little more information about them. So there you go. I'll have to check how much is left on the bolt. I know I took a lot of it because I have a tank, I have a shirt, and I have a cardigan. Oh, yes, Jody, they do. They do. Oh, good, Mary. Good. Well, you know, you can get there, but what happens, Mary, is if you know, like when you turn on Facebook, what comes in your feed? So if you used to get information, like maybe somebody left a message in Fashion Sewing Club, or maybe somebody left a message in Angela Wolf Patterns, right? And you're You're like, wait a minute, I haven't seen what's going on in that group for a super long time. Well, it's because it changed the algorithm now. So you have to actually go in and say, I really want to see that. Or if you have friends that you follow, you have to go do that too. What a pain. Yeah, I agree. All right, any last minute questions? Our hour is up and I got to go. What is the app name? It is Angela Wolf Patterns. Angela Wolf Patterns. See if I can open it one more time. It looks like this at the top. Angela Wolf Patterns. Yeah, YouTube seems to be a lot more reliable for live shows. And Fashion Sewing Club, we don't meet on Facebook for our events. So you never have to worry about that. But that doesn't mean the internet doesn't go down every once in a while. Oh gosh. Kathy says A+. All right, any questions for me, guys? Or are we good? Okay. Well, I will see you. There's no live show tomorrow that I know of on Brother. I know that they're starting the transition for summer, so you might just see Tuesdays on there. And so I guess I will see you next Tuesday on Brother. Jennifer Gleich is going to be on there at noon Eastern, and she's doing these really cute friendship bracelets. If you missed Barb M's show yesterday, oh my gosh, it was really cool. Talk about grabbing sketches and turning them into quilting and super fun stuff like that. And then Fashion Sewing Club, see you next week. And on Wednesday, again, behind the scenes. Maybe we'll get this cardigan finished. That's my goal next week. All right. In the meantime, if you ever need me, you know where to find me. You can always message me or email. Till next time, happy sewing.